08095944836 or 08092444955. And if you probably can't call, your calls can't come through, tweet at us with your questions at Hit FM Calabar using the hashtag MBMT Show. Remember, we are discussing financial discipline, managing finances to grow your business. Thank you once more, sir, for joining us. Now, why you go be saying I would just stay on my own and not even have a 100 naira? I'm so broke, and then I find myself begging people for 50 naira or 100 naira. What could be the possible reason? So, sir, please, what is financial discipline?
Well, financial discipline refers to series of simple actions or habits that you take consistently over time in order to achieve your financial goals. It will generally involve things like setting financial goals, financial planning, setting controls for your resources, for your transactions, for your processes, and also things like record keeping and reviewing your position periodically, as well as making adjustments that are required from time to time.
Okay, sir. So how can an entrepreneur, how can he actually cultivate financial discipline,
Well, like I mentioned, first he needs to make up his mind, because it takes a lot of willpower. Apart from knowing what to do, it takes a will to execute those things. He needs to form those habits. That means he needs to practice them over time, and they need to be paradigms for him. That is a way of thinking when it comes to finances. So before he spends, he needs to say, okay, can I afford this? Simple rules. Spend less than you make. Save as much as you can. Grab as much inflows as you can. Delay spending as long as possible. These are all little things that can help you really strengthen your financial discipline muscles over time.
Yesterday I actually went about asking a few business people questions, and I realized that the startup is burdened with a lot of responsibilities to family, employee, the community, and government as a whole. In fact, I found out that even your husband can walk up to you and ask you, baby, what's available? I need money. It can be 2,000, it can be 3,000. And you just find yourself giving him the money, and then it comes as often as possible. It could be the community, taxation, and all of that. I'm still trying to get my business, to work and see the profit I'm trying to make out of it. So, sir, how can I still achieve my business objectives and goals?
First, if you look at it critically, most of the things that will come at you in business don't just happen. A lot of them have been there. So with proper planning, you can identify the expenses and all the necessary things you need to take care of, like taxes. Like, you can even plan for family expenses. If your husband is in the habit of asking you for money from time to time, you can always keep something aside for contingencies. There's a line in your...
It's not just the husband. I don't want the husband. The husband listening to me to get angry. You could just become from any family member.
Friends, but you can keep something aside for contingencies. There are people who used to say they plan for welfare and they keep a particular percentage of their money for welfare, but once it's exhausted, it's exhausted. For taxes, you pay taxes out of the income you make. So if you know how much you're making, then it's easy to plan for that. Now, apart from planning your expenses, you also need to set priorities. Which expense or which activity will take priority over the other? So if I have limited resources, what will I expend it on? Is it my business or my friend? If I choose my business, when the time for making decisions come, I will always select my business over my friend.
So you're saying that every business must have a budget. Take for instance, Akpan is in his business place, and he's been able to sell just one shirt or one singlet for 700 naira. And Akpan needs to have lunch. His salesperson also needs to have lunch. Maybe he takes out 200 naira for that, and then he also needs to buy a recharge card during the day. Maybe to call customers or however, and he's going to still take out of that 700 naira. Mind you, no other customer has come in. He's still taking from that 700 naira. So And then on Sunday he goes to church and then he's praying to God, oh Lord, I need deliverance. My finances need deliverance. Is it Akpan himself that needs deliverance?
I guess so. The bane of most businesses, especially small businesses, is that a lot of them don't sit down to plan. Planning is simply sitting down to look at the end before you start. So if Akpan had sat down and said, these are the expenses I will incur on a daily basis, the variances in real life, if he did a real estimation and plan for his business, will not differ, will not be so much that it will throw him into trouble. Now, if he also does not achieve his targets, like I said earlier, he needs to just review and readjust. If you spend more than you earn, you will end up poor. If you spend less than you earn, there is a higher probability of becoming financially free because of your habits over time. So it makes sense for everyone to sit down and say, this is what I'm going to do on a daily basis. And as much as possible, stick to the plan, because that's the second part of it. It's not enough to have the plan. You must stick to the plan. It's not enough to make the decisions what you would do. You must also actually implement them. And that's where a lot of people miss it. And that can only be corrected by practicing what you want to do over time. You may need to get external help. Maybe get somebody who is a bookkeeper, somebody who is an accountant to help you enforce that so that you can stay on the rules you have set.
Okay, so it brings me back to bookkeeping. So how can an entrepreneur handle cash flows, money that comes in, money that goes out? We're talking about record keeping. What are the must-have books that must be kept by every small business out there?
All right. For business people, you must realize that what you can't measure, you cannot control. So the first step to controlling your cash flows is that you must keep records. Basic book for any business, you have the cash book. It records every payment or receipt that you have, cash book, And then secondly, you could have things like your sales book, which measures the sales that you make on a daily basis. And then, of course, purchase book for purchases, which gives you more detailed description of the things you've purchased, the quantities, and the amounts you've spent. And then, of course, you must also have an expense book to capture your daily expenses, description, who made them, who did you make them to, as well as having a stock book for your trading stock. It's important to have those ones. Other books may include things like debtors, registers, if you sell on credit, or creditors, if you also buy things on credit. Attendance registers are necessary because they help to control movement of staff, as well as asset registers for the movement of to recognize movement of your assets and all that. So I think that with these books, especially the first ones I mentioned, the cash book, sales book, the purchase book, expense book, and the stock register, you can do well. Anybody can construct reports and accounts of your business and show you a picture of where your business is per time.
So I also think that entrepreneurs also have to note that they cannot eat into the cost of how of their product. Just like Akpan we talked about, who made 700 naira and ate the 700 naira up to 500. What if the cost of that share cost him 500?
That's what planning does for you. Planning tells you this is the cost of production, cost of sale, and this is the margin you expect. So you know what exactly the margin is. Once you eat into the margin, then there's a problem. But you also know that in determining cost, it's not just about the price at which you bought the item you're going to sell. It also involves the cost of selling it, which may include the things like, money for phone calls, for all that transportation and all those things. So basically, it starts with setting goals, planning, and then also just setting priorities and sticking with them.
All right, people, remember to call in on 0700-95944-836, 070-095-944-836, or 080-92-444-955, 080-92-444-955. Please call in and ask every question you have as an entrepreneur on financial discipline. So it is said that a business is a separate entity What does that mean?
Well, it means that in accounting for a business, you need to treat it separately from the owner. You know, the essence is, especially with regards to the owner, is to be able to measure whether the investment in the business is worthwhile. You know, you need to make sure that the lines are not blurred, because if they are blurred, it's difficult to ascertain whether that business is profitable or if it will stay alive in the long run. What you have around a lot of times is that people have multiple sources of income, and they use it to feed one business. So they really do not know if the business is alive for itself, or they've been giving it a lot of support. You know, so it's essential that you keep them separate.
Because we'll talk more on this. Okay, let's take a call. Hello. 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 Are you there? Okay, sir. We'll go ahead. I guess we lost that caller. We're talking about your business being a separate. Hello. Hi. Good morning. Who is speaking and where are you calling from, please? Hi, Silas. Can we take a question or contribution? Okay, Silas, can you turn down the volume of your radio set? Okay, so I can hear you properly. Go ahead. What is the possibility that you will run at a loss? Oh, okay. Okay, Mr.
All right. What do you check out for to ensure you don't run at a loss? First, you need to know your cost of doing business. How much? You must measure every cost to the last detail. You know, I heard somewhere that the devil is in the details. You need to measure the cost of doing business to the smallest and minutest detail. Not just the cost of buying the product or manufacturing whatever you're selling, but the cost of putting it in the market. You need to know all those costs. You know, part of your costs are salaries that you pay to staff. Part of your costs are salaries, monies paid for rent and all that. So all these costs must be aggregated. It must be summed up to know the cost of making one unit of your product. In fact, that should help you determine the price at which you will sell, so that you're not just selling because everybody sells their own at 5 naira. You don't have to sell yours at 5 naira because you might actually, your cost of doing business may actually be 6 naira. So if you enter the market at 5 naira, when your cost of doing business is 6 naira, you're already making a loss outrightly. So what you should do is find out if these people are selling for 5 naira, what is their cost of production or cost of sale? How come they can still stay afloat selling at 5 naira? Then you do that.
Okay, sir. So how can we separate our personal finance from our business finance?
Well, one good thing is to have separate accounts for the business and for yourself, and spend only from your account at will. Pay yourself a salary. A lot of people say they don't want to pay themselves salary when the business makes money, they will pay. But I believe that you must pay yourself a salary and regard the salary you pay to yourself as a business expense. Remember that for people who work in a firm or an organization, they have a particular payday. So they don't draw monies every day from the business. So you too should not draw money every day from the business just because you have the signing right. If not, when you're handling public funds, it's likely you may also be drawing money from the account at will just because you are a signatory to the account. So it starts with being able to run separate accounts for the business. Also put processes in place that ensure that you cannot spend your business money without some kind of process. It will discourage you from spending. If you need to get somebody to originate every expense that you make or to vet every expense that you make, I assure you it will reduce the tendency for you to spend at will.
Okay, let's take a call. Hello? Hello? Hi, good morning. Who is speaking and where are you calling from? Okay. Can you go ahead with your question?
Okay. Pricing.
Hello? Hello? Yes, please. Can we take a question? Okay.
Okay.
We'll just go ahead. So how does he sell his product? I guess maybe when he buys a product. Talking about
how does he price it? Yes. You know, I was saying the other time that what you need to do is determine, when I buy this product, apart from the cost of the product itself, how much will it take me to take the product to the market? So for instance, I buy the product from Kano, or from, maybe Kano is far, I buy it from Wat Market for 100 naira, and I need to transport it from Wat Market. I'll pay transport from Wat Market to Marian, and I'm going to pay 50 naira. That's an added cost. So the cost of the product is already 150, and then I'm going to pay staff another 10 naira a month to sell that product. That's 160 already. So the price at which I must sell it cannot be less than 160. Now, added to that is the rent for the place where I'm going to sell it. Maybe that's another 20 naira. So the total cost of the product is already 180 before anything else, before utility calls and all those kind of things. Was 180. So I should be selling the product at least 181 naira to make a profit.
All right. I hope that helps you. Yes, another caller. Hello. Hello. Okay, sir. Entrepreneurs are beginning to gain access to finance unlike before, which means somebody can have access to 10 million naira to start up his business. 10 million naira he has never seen before or hasn't had, at hand before. How does he position himself, knowing that money is very tempting and our wants are insatiable? So how can he position himself to make sure that he puts that money into what exactly it is supposed to be for?
Very tricky question. But it's simple. Every amount you have for business must have an address. That means it must have a purpose before the money comes.
Okay.
So that when the money arrives, it goes straight for what you send it straight to do what it's meant to do. Now, real life situation is that at the time you were asking for the 10 million, the realities may have changed from when the 10 million, between when you asked for it and when you actually got it. So at every point in time, you must reassess and know, is this money still going to be used the way I said before? And if it's not going to be used that way, am I sure that 10 million will do what I want to do? Everything is scalable. Everything can be adjusted to suit your present reality.
Of course, you have to remember that's the loan that you have to pay back.
So a lot of people get into problems because they collect monies they didn't really need, or they collect monies and they divert them to other uses because they feel that those are more, maybe more profitable at the moment, and then things happen they didn't anticipate, and they get into problems trying to pay.
Okay, we have the caller. Hello. Hi, good morning. Okay. Please, can you take that question again? A cab service. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Okay. Two things. First, you need to determine how much do you really make in that business, and what is the average rate that the cab drivers charge for themselves. I know that as a general rule, they deliver a particular amount to the owners of the cab. And I mean, not most cab drivers deliver a particular amount to the cab owners, and the excess they keep for themselves. So that's like a kind of daily pay system. Okay. Now, if you are the owner of the cab what you could do is set aside that same amount of money that cab drivers deliver to owners. You set it aside in a separate account, and the excess that you get, you take as your own payment. So if you accumulate that over a month, you're sure of how much you should be paying yourself. And it makes it easy for you to say, okay, this is my own salary for the month or for whatever period you choose to accumulate.
Okay, sir. Now we cannot talk about financial discipline without talking about savings and investment. How important is that to an entrepreneur?
Well, for an entrepreneur, savings is just absolutely essential. If you're able to keep away a part of the excess you make in business, it makes it possible to reinvest in your business. Now, when you reinvest in your business, you increase the business's capacity to make money, or you at least you will create an additional income stream for your business. Bottom line is that being able to save and to have money to invest at a later date will increase the probability of becoming financially free. And you must always remember that you only invest what you have. So if you can create a pot of saving, it becomes the basis for making any kind of investment.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Ibok. Do you have a final word for the listeners?
Well, my final word is simple, that discipline in your financial life can make a huge difference in your financial well-being. You will do well to embrace it.
All right. Unfortunately, this is where we have to draw the curtains. I'd like us to remember that discipline is a necessary skill for proper financial management. Without it, you will never acquire or accumulate or accomplish anything. Discipline is being able to say no when you need to, and to be able to put money away instead of spending it. Before you take money out of that wallet to spend it, always ask yourself these questions. Do I really need this? Is this what I came to the shop to get? Can I do without this thing that you want to buy? Am I buying this out of emotions, that is just to make you feel good? Of what advantage is that thing to me? So remember, anyone can develop financial discipline, which includes you. It just takes a willingness to change and develop new habits. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Remember to drop your comments and contributions on Facebook with www.facebook.com/SSEDC or tweet us at CBNSSEDC. To watch our videos, visit www.youtube.com/SouthSouthEDC or email us at info@ssedc.org for more information. For sponsorship and advert bookings, call Blessing Akpan on 070-128-23985. I'll take that number again, 070-128-23985. Till next week, stay tuned. The late mornings with Ima. It's over to you, Ima.
Yeah.